Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So I've come out, it's going to be a very short video. I just wanted to talk about Phoebe Bishop, who is a young girl who's gone missing in Australia. And you may have seen something about it in the news. I've been sort of seeing bits and pieces about it, but not really following it that closely. But her mum has come out and made a statement. Phoebe is only 17 years old, and she's disappeared off the face of the earth, like people do or don't really. We know they don't disappear. 17-year-old girl. So she was off to the airport, supposedly, going to visit her boyfriend, going to the airport to catch a plane. We'll have a look in a moment exactly which part of Australia it is. And disappeared. Never took her flight, never arrived to take her flight, never been heard of since. So where is she? So this has been almost 2 weeks. In fact, it may have been more than 2 weeks. What date did she actually go missing? I think it was around about the 15th of May. Yeah, the 15th of May was the last time that Phoebe was seen. And since then, we don't know. We don't know where she is. Where is she? Doesn't look very good, unfortunately. And even her own mother is having to acknowledge that fact, that she may never see her daughter again. And that is really what attracted my attention, because I thought, imagine as a mother having to go on to do a press conference and to say that you may never see your daughter again. Just, an awful thing, isn't it? So the more coverage, the better. Something, Phoebe has got to be found one way or another. A poor mother, what she's going through. Anyway, there are a few suspects. I'm going to have a look at those. Phoebe had flatmates, or a flatmate who had a boyfriend. Reading between the lines, you feel like they're suspects. But having said that, apparently they were called in for questioning, but they've not been arrested. So let's just have a look at the. I'll just say hello to anybody who's here. Hi, Yvonne. Hi, Geordie. Yeah, I wasn't going to come on tonight. I was supposed to be making the Anna Knezevich video, which, it's just taken so much preparation, that video. I keep finding out more and more information, which is really good. But I'm going to do that tomorrow morning now instead. And then I thought I'll just jump on and talk about Phoebe. So yeah, let's have a look. Now, you may or may not have heard about this case. It has been in the British newspapers as well as the Australian newspapers. Quite often things that are headline news in Australia make it onto our, I'm in Spain, of course, but make it onto the British headlines. So the search for Phoebe, it says here the 10th day, but it's been longer than that now. This is Phoebe with her mum. Phoebe is now 17 years old and been missing since the 15th of May. So she was last seen on her way to the Bundaberg airport in Australia. Let's have a look where that is. I don't know really where that is. Let's have a look. That's the airport. I want the map, don't I? Oh, come on. I want the map of Australia with the airport on it. Don't. No. No. Maybe if I go on Google Maps first, perhaps better. And then put in Bundaberg Airport. Okay, so here we are. Where is it in Australia? Is it? I don't know this area really. The only places I really know, and only because of cases that we've done, that I know anything about Australia whatsoever. Is it? So it's not far from Brisbane. The airport, that is, on the coast there. So that's where she was supposed to be going, to get a plane to go and visit her boyfriend. But she never took that flight. So what happened to her in between? You know, this is the thing. Hi, David. What happened to this girl, 17 years old? You know, it seems, I mean, she definitely didn't seem to get to the airport. So something happened to her before she got there. So let's have a look at what her mum had to say. Again, just want to find it. Right, so this was a mum speaking just recently, just yesterday.
16 days without any trace of her daughter.
This is a pain no person or family should ever have to experience. Phoebe was a beautiful, loving, kind person.
Phoebe Bishop's mother speaks.
So she's talking about her in the past tense. I feel like this mother has given up hope. I really feel that this mother has given up hope, that for whatever reason, because she's talking about her in the past tense straight away. And she's making this press conference saying that she does not, she feels like she may have to accept she's never going to see her daughter again.
Speaking publicly for the first time.
I still hold hope that Phoebe will come home, but I have to consider the possibility that she also won't. If the worst case scenario has happened, I at least need to know where she's resting. I need to know where Phoebe is.
The 17-year-old vanished on May 15 on her way to Bundaberg Airport. She was meant to fly to Western Australia. Police have scoured her Gin home, this grey Hyundai iX35 and Goodnight Scrub National Park. The bushland search recently suspended.
My daughter wouldn't just disappear.
Police are now focusing on the greater Gin area. They're chasing up several leads.
What's really important is that they can discover very clearly what her movements were, who she was talking to, who she may have been in contact with, because that's going to really lead to determination of where she is right.
This something Mallet, she turns up in every Australian case, doesn't she? She's on there giving, opinions or her experience. Giving us, I saw her a lot in the Samantha Murphy case, and in fact, every Australian case that I've covered, Xanthi always seems to pop up
At this moment.
Phoebe's flatmates have been charged over weapons.
So this is her flatmate, and the guy that you saw before is her partner. Not a very flattering photo, that is it. He looks like quite nasty actually on that photo, but of course that doesn't mean to say that he is nasty. I mean, we shouldn't prejudge. But this is her flatmate's partner, and they've been charged on weapons charges. So when the police raided the home, where they all lived, they have been charged, but with weapons charges. And apparently they've been released, but they're not supposed to talk to each other. They're forbidden to talk to each other.
These have been charged over weapons found during the search. Detectives haven't linked the firearms to their investigation.
Someone knows something, and as a mum, I'm asking you to come forward with your information.
For a family desperate for answers. Lawrence Jeffcoat, 7 News.
So let's
16
just watch
days
that
without any
again.
trace of her daughter.
This is a pain no person or family should ever have to experience. Phoebe was a beautiful, loving, kind person.
Phoebe Bishop.
It's funny to say was, isn't it? Really, this. I mean, I just feel like this mother has. Maybe she knows the police have told her things, or maybe it's just a mother's instinct or whatever. But she's just seems to me that she's sort of given up hope already, even though she says she must stay, keep hope. I just don't feel that she is.
Mother speaking publicly for the first time.
I still hold hope that Phoebe will come home, but I have to consider the possibility that she also won't. If the worst case scenario has happened, I at least need to know where she's resting. I need to know where Phoebe is.
The 17-year-old vanished on May 15 on her way to Bundaberg Airport. She was meant to fly to Western Australia. Police have scoured her Gin home, this grey Hyundai iX35 and Goodnight Scrub National Park. The bushland search recently suspended.
My daughter wouldn't just disappear.
Police are now focusing on the greater Gin area. They're chasing up several leads.
What's really important is that they can discover very clearly what her movements were, who she was talking to, who she may have been in contact with, because that's going to really lead to determination of where she is right at this moment.
Phoebe's flatmates have been charged over weapons found during the search. Detectives haven't linked the firearms to their investigation.
Someone knows something, and as a mum, I'm asking you to come forward with your information.
For a family desperate for answers. Lawrence Jeffcoat, 7 News.
Yeah. So, doesn't look very promising, does it? At all, I'm not actually eating, believe it or not. It's just a menthol sweet, because of course, like, my throat has been fine. My my voice has been fine all day, but as soon as I started even thinking about doing a live, I started having a coughing fit. It's like, I think it's psychosomatic. I literally set up the live and then started coughing. And I thought, oh my God, I just don't believe that. So that's what it is. It's a little menthol sweet. And it's worked so far. I haven't coughed so far. It's one of these. Eucalyptus. Yeah, David, I hope you're okay after your, I don't want to pry, but hope you're okay. Hi, Annie. How are you, Annie? Oh. So, this, it's like this, we're covering quite a few missing person cases, aren't we, at the moment? 17-year-old girl. I mean, the flatmates do look a little bit suspicious, don't they? But of course, shouldn't say that really, because anything might have happened to Phoebe. Something could have happened to her on the way to the airport, or Phoebe herself might just have wanted to go off somewhere, though I think she's been gone too long for that now. It must be just awful, as we've said about missing people. The worst thing is just not even knowing, isn't it, what's happened to them? And you don't want this case to go into a being missing for ages and ages. It reminded me a bit of the Samantha Murphy case, because it's in Australia, but also it's like all that bushland and everything that they've been searching, this national park. It's like it really is looking for a needle in a haystack. So a lot of those missing cases, like we looked at Jack and Lily's case earlier today, it's so difficult, isn't it, to find people. If you do end up finding people who are missing, it is luck, really, isn't it? Unless they have some phone data or something, or if they're lucky with some CCTV or some sort of, they have to get lucky, the police, don't they? They have to get quite lucky to find people. But anyway. Oh, was it half term? There we go. I might have to have another sweetie in a minute. So, I don't know what's happened to this girl, but I'm going to keep an eye on it because, 17 years old. And there's a lot that I'm learning for the first time here about Phoebe and their flatmates. The thing is, the flatmates do look so suspicious, but, of course, that does not mean anything. I'm going to have a look in the Sun, actually, because I think the Sun has got quite a lot on it. Let's have a look at these. These were a last text, apparently. Seems to be quite a lot on Facebook about it. All right, so they're saying they dropped her off at the airport or round about the airport on May the 15th. All right, okay, I didn't know this. So they're saying they dropped her off at the airport, but she didn't get her flight. So it does seem very suspicious, doesn't it? So again, they're all talking about her in the past tense, aren't they? She was. So that's the police, the reporter, her own mother, all talking about her in the past tense already. So it doesn't look very promising, does it? Oh, dead dogs found on the property. Oh my God, what the hell is going on in this case? Dead dogs found in the property and weapons. Oh my God. Well, they are saying it is suspicious. They don't normally do that, do they? Remember with Samantha Murphy, at first it was no evidence of suspicious circumstances. Next minute they arrested someone. But this guy is saying from the outset there are suspicious circumstances. But they have not arrested those flatmates yet, even though they're the ones that supposedly. Now, they just said there that they thought she was in that car, but was she alive in that car? Gosh, this is sort of more complex than I thought it was. As I say, I've seen it over because I follow the Australian news, and I have seen bits and pieces about it, but I hadn't really looked into it in any depth. Oh, well, that's telling, isn't it? And that was strange that they said 2 days before she disappeared, her last sort of TikTok. That's quite a long time for people who like TikTok. You know, it's one of those sort of things you go on many times a day, really, because what I found with TikTok is, you know, I do go on it and you're just really just flicking through things, aren't you? If you ever go on TikTok, but you know, I can't imagine you would go 2 days, a young person especially, you would go 2 days without going on there. All right, so she'd reached out to her auntie, even though she was sort of more or less, well, she doesn't say she was estranged, but they weren't in regular contact. And then suddenly she reached out. So what was going on in Phoebe's life? So reading between the lines there, is that was she saying that the mum, Kylie, had thrown her out, and that's why she ended up living with those two people? Huh. Oh my God! So this is, you know, I don't know what to say really. So what she say? They lived in filth. She said. This is Kylie, Phoebe's mum. This is her sister who's talking, and they're estranged. And then suddenly Phoebe contacted her. So there's obviously some problem with her mum. Her mum had thrown her out, and that's why she ended up going to live with those other two flatmates. So yeah, very strange situation. So everyone seems to think that she's no longer, that she is deceased. Nobody seems to think she's not. I'm not sharing that, am I? Was I not sharing that? Not sharing. Oh, dear me. I was so sure I was sharing there. Let's try again.
About 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I don't want to watch Michael McIntyre.
It's been 13 days since Queensland teen Phoebe Bishop disappeared without a trace. Now, as the police search intensifies, Phoebe's family is speaking out, breaking their silence for the first time.
Tanika, do you know anything about Phoebe's disappearance?
The last to see missing Queensland teen Phoebe Bishop, her housemates, Tanika Kristen Bromley and James Wood.
Tanika, where's Phoebe?
Tanika?
Her housemates telling police they dropped Phoebe off near Bundaberg Airport around 8:30 a.m. 13 days ago on May 15th.
Did you really drive her to the airport?
What happened to Phoebe?
Police say there is no suggestion either are involved with her disappearance. Phoebe had booked flights to visit her boyfriend in WA, except she never made it inside the airport terminal. She never boarded her flight and her luggage hasn't been found.
What kind of girl was Phoebe?
She was a really relatable person to the rest of her family and a lovely young girl, and we're trying our best to try and find her.
Tanika's car, a Hyundai SUV that police believe Phoebe was in on the way to the airport, has been seized. The house where Phoebe was living, derelict and full of rubbish, declared a crime scene.
Why were there dead dogs found on your property?
And today, after combing through thick bushland since Friday, police called off a search.
So they've gone. So I've got to say it all again now. So dead dogs found on the property. That's not very nice, is it? Oh my God. So before we watch this video again, well, I'm watching it again, you're watching it for the first time. It seems like, this is a family in chaos, isn't it? Like, there's some big problems in this family, it seems. So anyway, so we're going to hear the aunt speaking. So that is Phoebe's auntie, the sister of her mum, Kylie. But they're estranged. So there's big problems in this family, you can see that.
Phoebe was in on the way to the airport has been seized. The house where Phoebe was living, derelict and full of rubbish, declared a crime scene.
Why were there dead dogs found on your property?
And today, after combing through thick bushland since Friday, police called off a search in Goodnight Scrub National Park, more than an hour from Bundaberg. Items of interest were found, but police believe evidence was moved before the search began.
We are still treating this as a suspicious missing person. We're speaking to a number of persons and they are providing us information.
Phoebe's last activity on TikTok, May 13th, 2 days before she vanished. The 17-year-old often posted about relationships, mental health and family.
Phoebe, we need you to come home. We need Nanny to come home. Please come home, honey, Nanny.
On April 26th, Phoebe texted her auntie Kaz Johnson, Messages now revealed for the first time.
Up shit creek, but shit happens. I'm flying the out of here to see my boyfriend. If it goes to plan, I'm not coming back. I can't do shit anymore. I need to get out of this hellhole. I need to go, but chat soon.
So the auntie goes on to say, you'll see it shortly, that she hadn't heard from Phoebe for ages, and then suddenly out of the blue, Phoebe sent her all these texts that are like, basically, oh, I've got to get out of this hellhole. Like texts suggesting that things aren't brilliant. And it seems that she was actually thrown out of her home. Her mum, Kylie, threw her out. And that's how she ended up living with these very strange flatmates in this place with the dead dogs and the guns that the police found.
Phoebe's aunt, Kaz Johnson, is joining us now. We've hidden her identity upon request. Kaz, Phoebe sent you those texts we just saw 4 weeks ago. How did it make you feel when you read them?
To start with, I'm like, why all of a sudden something must have happened? Why are you getting in contact now? And it was just, when looking back, like she was reaching out, and because it's been so long that I've spoken to her, and she doesn't say why she actually wanted to talk. It was just strange.
So totally out of the blue, it sounds like. Were you concerned about it or just more puzzled?
More puzzled at the start. And then when the conversations got more into it, it was like something's really happening, because Kylie would never stop talking to her kids or kick her kids out. And then all of a sudden she had to get out.
Right.
She had no one to talk to, turn to. And then he got puzzled and quite worried.
So Kylie, of course, is your sister, her mum.
So this is a strange one, isn't it? So from although this lady has been estranged from her sister, she did say she was surprised that, she never thought Kylie would ever throw Phoebe out, but then it felt like she had thrown her out. Now, we don't know what happened, of course, why Kylie threw her out, teenagers, who knows what was going on in that house. It might not have been, Kylie can't hold sometimes. I mean, I can't imagine throwing out your child, even when you're going through hell with them. And believe me, I know it'd be very difficult to put your child out on the street, wouldn't it? And, at 17, be very difficult to do, even if they are being an absolute nightmare, which quite often they are at that age. But anyway, it seems like that's what Kylie did. Maybe it was so bad what Phoebe was doing, she had to throw her out. And then Phoebe, it seems like, ended up then living with these two flatmates, but doesn't sound like a very good arrangement, does it? And it may have led to... Now, we can't blame the flatmates. The police at the moment are saying that the flatmates, there's no evidence that they've had anything to do with it, but they're the ones that are supposed to have dropped her off at the airport.
Phoebe's mum.
My sister.
Phoebe seemed determined, in the text at least, to get to WA. Did you believe that she was going to do that?
When Phoebe got something in her head, she will do it. She's so determined. What I understand, that she wasn't going to come back from WA. She needed to get there. She needed to get away from everyone down here and just start fresh.
What sort of person is Phoebe? Can you tell us a bit about her?
Phoebe is loudmouth. She has to have things her way. She's really opinionated, and she doesn't beat around the bush. She says it how it is.
We understand that you and Kylie...
Sounds like a typical teenager to me. But yeah, so she sounds as if she's a strong personality, whatever. But something's obviously happened between her and her mum for her mum to throw her out.
Phoebe's mum, your sister, are currently estranged. What more can you tell us about Phoebe's life and upbringing?
Phoebe, she was always moving from Queensland to New South Wales and backwards and forwards. She was always changing schools. She had so many different stepdads in and out of her life. She never had no one that she could really speak to. And they grew up in filth. No disrespect for anyone, because I grew up in housing commission, but they lived like a typical housing commission family.
Do you think police are going to find...
So she says they lived in filth. They lived like a proper housing commission family. Is a housing commission, I mean, is that like the equivalent of a council estate or something in, or like the projects, the Australian equivalent? She's quite sort of sniffy about it, isn't it? They grew up in filth. She seems a bit sort of scathing about her sister, doesn't she?
And Phoebe?
Honestly, I don't know, but I'm certain she won't be found alive. And it is sad to say, but I'm just being honest.
Why are you so certain, Kaz?
Just because they wouldn't say a homicide if it wasn't to do with foul play or debt or something else.
How are you coping with all this?
It's stressful because I've had PTSD, and knowing that Phoebe has been another person in our family that's been let down by the family,
Another person in our family that's been let down by the family. So it's obviously, you know, she's not come from the ideal home environment, poor girl. It sounds like she's gone from that to, you know, into this sort of weird flat sharing arrangement. But as I say, we don't know. But apparently her luggage has not been found. So where's her luggage? If they took her to the airport and dropped her off, actually did drop her off, as you say, David, there would be CCTV of that. They would have been seen dropping her off. There would be proof that they dropped her off. You know, is it possible that Phoebe herself has done, you know, something to herself? Because it sounds like she obviously was having issues, mental health issues, but she was on her way to go off and see her boyfriend, but she just didn't ever get on that flight. So at the end of the day, it's either those flatmates never dropped her off, or those flatmates dropped her off and she went off and did something to herself. But in which case, where's her luggage? You know, where is her body? You know, I mean, so, yeah, it's a question. It's either foul play, or it seems like she's done something to herself. Or has she just gone off? You know, I mean, I suppose you could try and look at on the bright side and think, you know, her state of mind was such that it's not incredible to think that she might just have taken herself off somewhere and just dropped off the grid. It reminds me a bit of that Hannah woman that disappeared off the grid. Sometimes people do. Maybe that's what she's done.
Down by the system, and she's just another child that's fallen through the cracks. Kids need to have voices. It makes my blood boil.
Here's hoping that what you suspect has happened hasn't, and this has an ending that's more positive than any of us can perhaps imagine at this point. Thanks very much for your time. You know, it's a really sensitive time for you to be going through.
Thank you.
Yeah, very sensitive time. So yeah, it's a lot more to this case than I realised. Let's see if we can find. Now there'll be some other videos. Let's see if we can find some other videos about this. I will remember to share them this time. Gosh, I was only going to stay on about 30 minutes, and of course now. Thing is, with these things, you go down the rabbit hole, don't you? And let's have a look at this. So, Phoebe Bishop flatmate breaks cover. What does that mean?
The teenager vanished almost 2 weeks ago. Phoebe Bishop has broken cover for the first time since the teenager vanished almost 2 weeks ago. It comes as police call off the search for the missing 17-year-old at a national park outside Bundaberg.
Hiding behind a hood and in no mood to face the heat. What happened to Phoebe, Tanika? Tanika Bromley hightails it out of the Gin police station. The housemate of missing teenager Phoebe Bishop reporting for bail over weapons offences unrelated to the teen's disappearance. Bromley and her partner James Wood, who she's now forbidden from contacting, were the last to see Phoebe alive.
So she's forbidden from contacting him. She's been bailed on weapons offences. He does, you know, I know you shouldn't judge people by their appearance, but come on. You know, he doesn't look, he looks like a bit scary, doesn't he, to be honest? I mean, is that a selfie that he's taken there? If he couldn't even smile on his selfie, it does look a bit intimidating. But you know what? Maybe the media have chosen this photo of him because he does look intimidating. I don't know. But anyway, I think they're both on bail, I would imagine. Yeah, because if she's banned from speaking to him, he must be out free as well.
From contacting were the last to see Phoebe alive. Well, were there dead dogs found on your property, Tanika? 9 News can reveal tonight that James Wood has also been charged after police allegedly found a shortened firearm and ammunition.
Oh, a shortened firearm and ammunition. Well, you're not allowed to, so that's, they mean a sawn-off shotgun or something, don't they? I mean, you're not allowed to have that, are you? But anyway, he's on bail.
Firearm and ammunition in their car during the search for Phoebe. That search today was called off in the Goodnight National Park.
Police take remains here at the home that Phoebe Bishop shared with her housemates Bromley and Wood. Authorities say they are still pursuing several leads in their investigation and that the Gin area remains their focus.
Tomorrow marking 2 weeks since she vanished. Her frantic family desperate for a breakthrough. In Gin, Pat Heaney, 9 News.
But knock right out once.
Yeah. So, let's see what other videos I can find. It's really intriguing me now. I'll probably, even after I finish this live, I'll probably be looking this up. Or, you know, I get, you go down a rabbit hole with cases. I've been down a rabbit hole today with Anna Knežević. I've found these Serbian newspapers that I've been translating on Google Translate. Found out so much about the investigation into Anna Knežević. That I didn't know because, you know, it's all in these Serbian media things. So that was it then. I was there translating them, reading them, what have you. And I'll probably be like this now about this case because it does sound very intriguing. You know, what has happened to this girl? Sounds, you know what, it sounds so very sad because it sounds like she didn't have much of a chance, really. Let's have a look at this. Maybe we'll have a look at her mum speaking again. Hang on. I want to find some videos, really, to watch. Some of the news items, because I haven't looked at any of it yet, really. Right, let's have a look at when they were taken into custody. This is, right, got to remember to share, must remember to share. So no, they haven't still found Anna, but I found out a lot about the investigation. Anyway, I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow. I've got it all planned now. It's all set up. But I'm hopeful they will find Anna's body sooner or later.
Following an exemption.
The thing is, the Spanish police, who are working, of course, with the FBI and everything to find Anna's body, I don't think they'll give up until they find her. And although David Knežević has deleted himself, selfish twonk, without saying where she is, there are other people who know where she is, I think. So I think they will find her sooner or later, but And I really don't think they'll give up until they do.
An examination, of the grey Hyundai, the centre of the investigation. It comes as Queensland Police believe crucial items of evidence may have been moved from the main search area before detectives had arrived. At this stage, police have not named any suspects or made any arrests in relation to Phoebe's disappearance. For more, we are joined by Dr. Tim Watson-Munro, criminal psychologist, live in Melbourne. Good morning to you. You would have...
Oh, this is the other guy who always pops up. So we've seen Xanthi Mallet. She always pops up, doesn't she, on the Australian crime things. Tim Watson-Munro, he normally turns up to have something to say. And the other guy, Charlie, he'll be the next one, I suppose, that we'll see talking about this.
I have to think the longer this takes, the more concerning it gets.
Absolutely. The golden window is generally 48 to 72 hours. After that, the trail runs cold. This poor girl's now been missing for 12 days, as I understand it. So it's of deep concern that she hasn't been found yet.
So police are concerned that some pieces of evidence may have been moved from that original search area. Is that the case? How difficult can it make the investigation?
Well, it can muddy the waters a bit. I understand that they're now focusing their search in a nearby scrubland forest. They may be acting on inside information or tip-offs, or that may be the natural place to look. But the fact that they're doing that suggests that they may be looking at foul play now.
So when they say they've found items of interest, what does that usually mean?
Well, it's evidence. So it could be evidence related to the disappeared person, personal items, for example. It may be other evidence that may belong to suspected offenders and so on. They're not going to disclose what that is at the moment, I assume, but I would see that too as being a fairly significant development in this case.
Just on the items of evidence that may have been moved, how do they know?
It's a good question. Look, the police don't often telegraph their inside information on cases like this. They don't want to muddy the waters even further. But the fact that they believe it may be moved, may have been moved, suggests that they know more than they're revealing to the public at the moment.
Okay. Guns were allegedly found inside the car that Phoebe travelled.
I think you could lay money on it that they know more than they're letting on at the moment. The thing is they've arrested those flatmates and bailed them on these gun offences, on these weapons offences. But, they know where they are. So, they've not arrested them on suspicion of murder or anything like that. So they're obviously, trying to get all their ducks in a row before they do that. I do think that, and they'll do it when they're ready to do it, won't they? But it does sound quite complex, this, and it's interesting, to hear them say, these items of evidence that they think have been moved. And like that reporter said, how do they know, that things have been moved? But we don't know, because we don't know what the things are. We don't know why they think they've been moved. We just don't know anything. But it'll all come out, I suppose.
In 12 days ago. Will this play into their investigation?
Well, I would imagine so. Nobody's been charged yet, but the fact that firearms have been found, illegal firearms, in a motor vehicle that she travelled in, join the dots. I think it's quite significant.
Okay. And, of course, there is no suggestion that Phoebe's flatmate has been involved in Phoebe's disappearance. We thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So they've always got to say that, haven't they? There's no suggestion. But, of course, there is a suggestion, really, isn't there? But allegedly, well, it's not even allegedly at the moment. Just strange that 1 minute, Phoebe was saying that she was going off to visit her boyfriend and going to the airport. They supposedly have dropped her off at the airport, but the car that they were travelling in to take her to the airport had these weapons in it. So, what has happened to this poor girl, poor Phoebe, 17 years old? And everybody's talking about her in the past tense already. So it seems to me, even her own mother was talking about her in the past tense in the police conference, in the press conference. So, you know, it seems to me that they're pretty convinced that something terrible has happened to Phoebe. But I just hope they find her. Just hope they find her. Anyway, I'm going on that note. I'm going to look more into this case and see if I can find out any more. But I don't think there's anything else to know really at the moment. Hopefully they will find her. There's a few people. So remember, we've got the police are out looking for Lily and Jack, aren't they? The little ones this weekend. Let's hope to find them as well. So it's a thankless task, isn't it? I do feel for these people, you know, who are out there searching, because you're searching really for bodies, aren't you? At the end of the day, more likely than not, you're not going to find live, healthy children. Like looking for Jack and Lily, they're probably not going to find Phoebe alive. That's the most likely thing. I mean, there's always an outside chance, isn't there, that the result might be different. But it is sort of like it's a grim task, isn't it? It's a very great body recovery of any kind, or searching for missing persons. It is pretty grim, isn't it, really? So, you know, I think the people that do these searches as well, well, obviously they get trained especially to do it, but they must get some counselling, because then when they do find the people, they've probably got invested in them. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've been searching for them for a while, so they sort of feel this personal connection to them. So it's sort of, even though it must be good when they find them, because at least they found them. Like, you know, I think the day that Samantha Murphy's remains are found, hopefully, it will be a good day, even though it's not. Do you understand what I mean? It's not a good day because it confirms that Samantha is deceased. But at the end of the day, I think everybody knows that or accepts that, like the family are prepared for that. So it still will be a good day in that they'll be able to get her home. But it's a sort of a bittersweet sort of type thing, isn't it? I don't know if there is any sweet in it, but don't know if I'm explaining myself very well. But I just feel that for a family, it's got to be better to know what's happened to someone. So yeah, that's actually that's a good point, Geordie. Because yeah, the flatmates could have been doing the texting, couldn't they? Because apparently she wasn't on TikTok 2 days before she disappeared. So she could have been dead longer than that, couldn't she? Hi, Tigra. Yeah. Let's hope. The thing is that the way that they'll find her, if they do find her, of course, unless they didn't take their phones with them, and there is no sort of, there's so many ways that they can find out where people have been, haven't they? You know, like with the phone data, like we've seen that with the mushroom murder trial. They know that Erin was in the areas where those death cap mushrooms are, and that's an important bit of evidence in her trial that may go against her in the end, you know, that she was in those areas, because from her phone data it could be seen. So we don't know yet. It'll all be going on behind the scenes here, and although it's been 2 weeks, that's, like you say, it's quite a short time really. It was a month before Samantha Murphy, her alleged murderer, was arrested. It takes time, you know, it's not an overnight thing, is it? Collecting data, collecting CCTV takes a lot of time, and it's painstaking, and phone data and all those things, and you have to get permissions and blah de blah de blah. So, and they won't want to arrest them you know, until they know for certain, will they? They want to get everything you know, sorted out. They won't want to arrest them without all the proper evidence, etc. So It's just a matter of time, isn't it? Matter of time. Yeah. So of course Monday we've got the next instalment in the mushroom murders, and hopefully the last week of that murder trial. So yeah, it's intriguing, isn't it? It's intriguing, and how the police, how can I explain it? How the police go about it, listen, when I'm not on here talking about true crime, I'm normally watching videos about true crime, and I just find the police procedures fascinating. Like what they have to go through, and they have to jump through a lot of hoops as well. It's not like on the TV, is it? Like when you're watching the TV programs and it all gets sorted out really quick and everything. It's just not like that, is it? It's boring. It's painstaking. It involves a lot of work. Doesn't just the police go and interview someone and then they confess and that's it. Or it only takes them a day to get CCTV and stuff. It takes ages. But actually, I had a little bit of a change today. I started watching something that I never watch, which is the BBC. And I was watching that, it just happened to be on. And I watched two really good programs. And I thought there's one thing that the BBC do really well, and that is nature programs, don't they? And I watched one, I can't remember the guy's name. This guy, he was out on safari looking at big cats, and that. It was absolutely brilliant. And then the second, there was another one straight after, which was a David Attenborough one called Heroes. And it was about all these people that go, saving the planet, really, or as far as saving extinct animals. Well, they can't save an extinct animal, but trying to stop animals getting extinct. And there was various different people on it, highlighting them. There was a lady who goes to Africa and pretends that she goes undercover trying to buy ivory, and then catching these people that kill elephants for the ivory, and she went out as if she was looking to buy it, and then sort of trapped these people, and then the police came and arrested them, and that was brilliant. And then there was a Spanish guy actually, who's like a frog expert. He's obsessed with frogs, and he had this one frog that he needed a mate for, because this frog was going extinct, and he went out to the rainforest or wherever he went to find a mate for this frog, and he found one. And this frog then had a great time for the last sort of year of its life or whatever, spawning lots of new frogs and stopping this particular frog going extinct. Then they had these girls stopping ibises going extinct. It was just a brilliant program. So I don't always just sit and watch true crime. I did watch those nature programs today. And I thought, it did make me think. The BBC, they do nature programs really well. But when David Attenborough goes, I don't know who they're going to get to replace him, because could you imagine a nature program without David Attenborough? It just wouldn't be the same, would it? So, bye, David. Yeah, no, it's true. It's hard. This one about the lions and the cheetahs and leopards is sad, because obviously they were out hunting animals. There are times that I can't watch, but they didn't show you anything in that particular. But they were just. It was just fascinating, the whole thing. But I know exactly what you mean. If there's anything sad in it, it's like. But they were good, really good. Yeah, I don't have to pay a license fee. I wouldn't pay one. If I was in the UK, I wouldn't have a license fee. So, wouldn't pay it. Yeah. No, I don't actually. Sometimes I have dreams about the cases that I'm covering. Like, I dreamt about Samantha Murphy. Do you remember? I've dreamt about Sebastian Rogers. I just, you know, sometimes I do dream about the people in the cases, which is quite interesting. But no, I don't really have nightmares about cases. I think the worst one that's affected me out of any that I've ever covered was the Southport attacks. You know, that was really, I found that really, really difficult. So, yeah. But yeah, most of the time I don't. I can sort of split myself away from it. But sometimes I just have to take a little break and watch some daft comedy, or sometimes I just watch something really, I don't know, I watch Columbo or something, like something completely, quite like Columbo. Anyway, I'm waffling, aren't I? I'm waffling. I'm not going to waffle. Hi, Tracy. Oh, I'm just finishing now. Just finishing now. But I'll be back tomorrow. So I'll see you really soon in the next video. Let's hope that Phoebe is found soon, one way or another, and whoever is sort of, if somebody's done something bad to Phoebe, let's hope that they get, you know, their justice quite soon. So I'll see you really soon in the next video. Please don't forget to leave your fingerprint on the like button on the way out. And if you're not already subscribed, please think about subscribing. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.